Welcome back. If you've just joined us, you're watching the news at 10, broadcasting on Channels Television live from Lagos. Reminder of our main stories now. Federal government signs MOU with the United States towards funding and technical support for improved electricity. Nati audit report accuses NNPC of failing to remit over $3.8 billion to the Federation account in 2013. Vice President Osinbajo pays working visit to Edo State. The federal government commitment to diversifying the economy. Multiple bomb attack by Islamic State targets 2 Syrian government strongholds, killing over 70 people. Do remember, all our top stories can be found on our website. It's channelstv.com. and on youtube.com/channelsweb. Do visit m.channelstv.com to view us live on your mobile device. You can also download the Channels TV app for Android, iOS and Windows phones from their respective stores. We also encourage you to use the Eyewitness feature in the Channels TV app. If you've got pictures or videos you'd like to share with us, simply tap on the Channels TV app on your device, swipe to reveal the Eyewitness menu and follow the instructions. The Nigerian military says that the chief bomb maker for the Boko Haram sect has been killed by one of his bodyguards while attempting to flee. The army claims most of the high-ranking members of the group are now on the run, following the intensity of its operation crackdown. According to the army, a certain Jalili Bib, who was appointed to take over, is now completely blind because his 2 eyes were shattered by a shrapnel in the process of preparing an IED to consolidate his appointment. This development, the army says, has dealt a devastating blow on the terrorist capacity on IED preparation, suicide bombing, and the ability to sustain their criminal acts. Politician and former Minister of State for Works, Mr. Chris Owerri, has promised the people of Edo State that he will sustain and improve upon the legacies of Governor Adams Oshiomhole to better their lives. Speaking in Abuja shortly after obtaining the governorship nomination form of the All Progressives Congress in Edo State, Mr. Owerri says that industrialization of Edo State will top his priority in his administration if elected into office. He announced plans to create employment opportunities through the establishment of 36 industries in all the local government areas in the state.
Better days appear to be here for the people of Edo State, as a former Minister of State for Works has expressed his interest to govern the state. Without wasting time, Mr. Owerri goes straight to pick his nomination form, which he displays to the admiration of his supporters. The man, described as an unblemished politician, later pays homage to the national chairman of the party, where he says the position of governor is not meant for learners.
The Edo State election on 3rd September this year will be keenly contested. So APC, as a party, must put forward her best, and with all humility, I remain the best.
With an assurance of a level playing field, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress admits that the vision of the party is to produce an unbeatable candidate that will improve the lives of people of Edo State.
On our part, what we can promise you and what we intend to do is to establish a proper level playing field.
The aspirant takes time to outline his 9-point agenda for Edo State. Some of his associates also share his vision of a greater Edo State.
My first agenda, my manifesto, is to industrialize Edo State by creating and reactivating industries. Then every local government area, we have 2 industries.
Oshiomhole has performed very creditably well to the admiration of all Edo people. And so we believe that if he is leaving, his shoes will be too big for most of the contestants today. And the only person who have perhaps the legs that are even bigger than the shoes is living is Engineer Chris Ugimoye. And Chris is one of the person who has more than sufficiently shown from his bag of goodwill that he is ready to do well among other aspirants in Edo State.
The June 18 primaries of the All Progressives Congress in Edo will no doubt be a keenly contested one, but the people of the state will be better for it.
A privately owned hostel building under construction in Oko, Anambra State, has collapsed a few meters away from the Oko Polytechnic. The three-story building collapsed following a heavy downpour yesterday. One of the three construction workers in the building site is said to have been rescued, with the remaining two feared trapped in the rubble. Meanwhile, Anambra State Governor Willie Obiano has read the riot act to constructors and developers in the state, warning that the constructors of the hostel will face prosecution if found guilty of non-compliance with the directive of the Quality Testing Laboratory Department.
This is a private hostel. It's not. It doesn't belong to school. But our students, they are being used for our students, and students are living in these two buildings, the ones surrounding it. And when upon further inquiry, we found out that about 3 of them were here. One went out to buy something when this thing collapsed. Or 4 of them, the other one jumped out. The remaining 2 or 3, we don't know what happened to them. So we are suspecting that there may still be people trapped here. And we eventually got the one that jumped out this morning. He was in shock. He could not even talk.
If you look at this, it looks rubble already. Looking as if the materials are not as strong as they should be. I don't know that yet until I get a report. And contractors are supposed to comply with the dictates of this arm set up to ensure that we don't have this kind of building collapse. So these guys will go into this, and if we find that this contractor here did not obey the rules, we are going to prosecute him because it's unacceptable.
Over 170 government officials, civil society groups and other world high-level decision-makers, as well as bodies on the environment, are currently meeting in Nairobi, Kenya, for the second session of the United Nations Environment Assembly. The Assembly will culminate in resolutions and global call to action to address the critical environmental challenges facing the world today. UNEA is meeting under the overreaching theme of delivering on the environment's dimension of the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. Our correspondent, Ayola Kazim, who is covering the summit, now reports.
The world faces tremendous challenges. It is witnessing the largest exodus in history. Tragically, over 60 million people have been forced from their homes, many fleeing war and natural disasters. Oceans are littered with thousands of plastics. Pollution shrouds the cities with black smogs. Experts warn the environment often lies at the heart of these crises.
Our economies in the 21st century, in the name of development, have actually begun to kill an extraordinary number of people. If we go by the available statistics that the World Health Organization releases, then almost 1 in 4 or 1 in 5 premature deaths that occur every day, every month, every year on our planet are actually caused by ourselves.
Delegates at the United Nations Environment Assembly observing a 1-minute silence for those who lost their lives protecting the environment.
Thank you.
The Deputy Director of the United Nations Environment Programme, who represents the United Nations Secretary General, reminds the delegates that they have both the power and responsibility to promote a global transformation of attitudes and practice.
The message is clear. We cannot promote sustainable development unless and until we recognize and address its environmental dimensions. We are entering an exciting new era of opportunity. Let us commit to working together to deliver a sustainable future for people and planet.
Performing her final task as the President of the Assembly, Ms. Sanja Suren asked her colleagues to take the most important steps in protecting the environment, even after their stay in Nairobi.
Perhaps teaching our children and ourselves not to take the clean water for granted, not to take the daily bread for granted, is in fact one of the most important steps in protecting and conserving our magnificent natural resources.
Since the first United Nations Climate Conference in 1995, more than 600,000 lives have been lost, and 4.1 billion people have been injured, left homeless, or are in need of emergency assistance due to weather-related disasters. Now, the participants here in Nairobi will have to work together to fashion a way to create a better future for people and planet. From Nairobi, I'm Ayola Kasim, reporting for Channels Television News.
In the face of the uncertainties in the oil industry, the federal government has reiterated its commitment to diversify the economy through agriculture and industrialization. This is according to the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, who is currently on a two-day visit to Nigeria's commercial capital, Lagos. Shortly after his arrival at the presidential wing of the Murtala Mohammed Airport at about 9:56 a.m., Professor Osinbajo went straight to commission some projects built by the state government.
Vice President Yemi Osinbajo arrives in Lagos on an official visit accompanied by the Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, and other dignitaries. On arrival, the Vice President inspects the Guard of Honor mounted for him at the presidential wing of the Murtala Mohammed Airport. That done, the first port of call is Oshodi, where he commissions a clinic, motorbikes, trucks, caterpillars and other equipment donated by the state government to the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA. From Oshodi, the host governor, Akinwumi Ambode, leads the vice president and his team to Agor Palace Road in the Agor Quarter area of the city, where Professor Osinbajo commissions the just completed Agor Palace Road, which residents say has given them a big relief.
Infrastructure is important, it's imperative for good governance, and we begin to see what the Lagos State government has demonstrated, that it has is interested in improving the livelihood of residents of the Agor.
The people of this area were feeling all these years that we were not part of Nigeria, not even Lagos, so long neglected. We are happy, hoping that now that this has happened, we're expecting more, at least the internal roads.
But the Vice President is not done yet. His next stop is the Tafawa Balewa Square in Lagos State. And here he commissions 335 power bikes, 140 trucks with communication gadgets and other security facilities donated by the state government to Lagos State Police Command. This gesture, Governor Ambode says, is in keeping with his administration's commitment to ridding the state of criminals. Professor Osinbajo discloses what the federal government is doing to diversify the nation's economy.
I assure you of the continued support of our government to work with you to raise the bar of safety and security to globally accepted standards.
The federal government is committed to ensuring that Nigerians enjoy whatever benefits there are to enjoy in this country. That is why for the first time, the government is devoting 500 billion, half a trillion, to social investments. This will cover employment for graduates, 500,000 direct employment for graduates who at the moment are unemployed.
To whom much is given, much is expected, and the Nigerian police force appears to be fully aware of this. Going by the assurances from the nation's #2 citizen and this latest gesture from the Lagos State government, the residents of Lagos can look forward to more development in the state.
When the news at 10 returns, an assessment of 1 year of the President Muhammadu Buhari, a lecturer from the University of Lagos, Dr. Kayode Eshuola, a senior lecturer, joins us.